I figured now's a good time to introduce you to Muscovy ducks. This is a Muscovy drake. He is a black drake, and I don't know if a lot of people realize just how big Muscovy drakes get. Drakes on average can hit 15 to 20 pounds, and even though they're enormous, they are relatively docile. They won't attack you. They generally shy away from you. And they're overall pretty friendly. Now, you may be wondering what the things on their face are, and those are called caruncles. And it's a growth that primarily males get, I suspect, to try to attract females. And as you can see here, he's trying to jump to the next log. Muscovies are relatively good flyers. When the drakes get this big, they kind of suck at flying. But this one here, for example, sitting on the logs, that's a hen. And she will absolutely fly across my entire property without even a jet. But they are, like I said, very friendly ducks. The drakes get kind of a hairdo on them up top there. You can see it looks like their hair's combed. They actually raise and lower that when they're concerned about something. They can move it around. And you see he flies, but he's not very good at it. Like, he can't get any good height. But if you notice, pertaining to the hairdo, the females kind of get it, but not as pronounced. And you'll notice they don't have the caruncles around their faces. They generally keep themselves very clean. As you can see, she's nice and white, very bright. But this only really happens when they're older. They do a lot of preening. So some of my younger ducks are pretty dirty. They haven't quite mastered the art of preening yet. But if you're looking to keep Muscovies, they're really good at insect control and destroying unwanted vegetation. So if you get some French white Muscovies like this, which are a meat bird, they generally don't fly very well, and they'll generally stay in the area that you put them in. There are standouts and exceptions to that rule, though, because if you go for the heritage type like her, they fly well. These guys don't. You'll notice this being a hen, she has much bigger caruncles too, but they're bred that way. Like I said, these are meat production birds, meant more for meat than eggs or anything like that. That said, they will lay a pretty significant amount of eggs a year. But don't let the name fool you. They are not truly a duck. Muscovy duck is more somewhere between a duck and a goose. They are perching waterfowl, not truly ducks. If you breed so they're close enough to ducks that you can breed them with a duck, and they will produce offspring. But the offspring are not viable. They are, well, you'll get a duck out of it, but they won't be able to produce any more ducks. Think, mule. So sterile, unfortunately, because they can produce some absolutely stunning babies. They just will never reproduce for you. The French actually call them moulards. They use them for meat as well. If you cross a kin with a Muscovy, you get a much faster growing meat bird than you would either or. And they have red meat, unlike a greasy pekin, which has a brown meat that is not very palatable in my opinion. But Muscovies are red meat. Very tender and nice. You cook it the right way, like a steak. So yeah, Muscovies are destroyers of vegetation. I know I've already said that, but if you've got grass or anything you don't want in a place, they will eat it right past the root, and you'll end up with nothing there anymore. If that's what you're after, Muscovies are a good choice for that. Muscovy ducks do not quack. So when I say that, like, you hear all the guys behind me making a bunch of noise and stuff like that, like all these, khaki chambles and geese, and I got a couple others in there. All the geese making all that noise, but Muscovy ducks do not quack. Now, if you stumble on them or shove them across the yard, they quack. But generally the females kind of make a piping noise and the males hiss. The males will not do anything other than hiss, and the females, unless really disturbed, will not quack. So if you're looking for a quiet duck, this is your duck. Now, these are not snuggle ducks by any means. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get in on her, but on those feet, on the inside toe, the closest together on each leg, they have a claw, and that single claw is like a cat claw, and that cat claw will absolutely rip you open. So you must be careful with these ducks, because they use those claws to fight and protect themselves, and if they get them into you, they will absolutely cut you open. So when handling these ducks, you have to be very careful. Like welding gloves or heavy gloves of some kind if you plan to pick them up. But unlike other ducks, like those Welsh Harlequins there and the khaki Campbells, these guys have claws, so you have to be careful with them. In terms of brooding, Muscovy ducks are jerks. So the ducklings will pick on each other very heavily. They will pull each other's feathers out. They will make each other bleed. It's not an issue with other types of ducks, but Muscovy ducks will pick on each other and they will not stop. If one starts bleeding, they will pick more at that bloody spot and they will keep going. So what a lot of times anyone who's raising ducklings does, like this in factory type settings or large producers, they will de-beak them. So that bill or that nail right on the very tip of their bill there, they'll cut that off. I don't really care for that. I think it's kind of cruel. So I try to do my best to give them as much room as possible when they're brooding out so they don't pick on each other. But oftentimes in live markets or whatever, you'll see a lot of these birds without that upper nail, the very tip of their bill. And that truly does prevent them from picking the hell out of each other, because like I said, they're relentless. They don't stop. You can paint them entirely blue and they won't stop. Yeah, they're kind of jerks in that regard. So this guy right here, this is a runner and Muscovy cross. So someone crossed him with a runner duck and a black Muscovy duck, and he's a Mullard. You can tell he's got some beautiful colors, but he will never produce offspring. This doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So he's more of a lawn ornament. Just looks good. Costs me feed, but they're very docile. He's still very nervous, like a runner duck would be. But he gets the flying from the Muscovy, so he can kind of glide, but he doesn't do well at it. But yeah, Mullards, kind of neat birds too. You don't really want to cross them with runners, since runners are lightweight. You can see the runners there coming across. So actually, those are all Welsh Harlequins. I say that. Yeah, look at this runner. Nope, Welsh Harlequins. These are all Welsh Harlequins. You can notice that the blue spot on their wingtip. Welsh. So there's my runners. So those two fawn and white ones are the runners. Here comes old Mullard again, bopping his head with the Muscovies. So that bopping is actually kind of a mating dance. When male and female start bopping at each other, that usually means they're about to mate. And because that Mullard kind of looks like a female to him, he's trying to mate with him. And the Mullard's trying to mate with the Muscovy. So they're kind of confused. But it is what it is, I guess. I mean, good luck, bud. So yeah, that's all I got for Muscovy ducks. They're a good bird if you're looking for a quiet bird. Pertaining to flying, you might have to clip a wing, and you have to clip it heavily. You can't just clip the wing tips off. You have to clip all the way down to almost a quick where it doesn't bleed. But yep. So see you guys. Have fun. Be good.